This question is a perfect example of how the +1 sentence rule can really help us understand the context of what we're reading and why the SAT is kind of tricky when they give us a line reference. You know, they tell us to look somewhere, we look only in that spot, we're going to miss things that are important for the answering of the question. So in this case, they're really hitting the same idea over and over again. We'll still need to do process of elimination and watch out for trick choices, but it's really clear what they're saying. So let's look. Going to the sentence before where they tell us, models that treated flapping birds like fixed-wing airplanes estimate that they save energy by drafting off each other, but currents created by airplanes are far more stable than the oscillating eddies coming off of a bird. Air gets pretty unpredictable behind a flapping wing, says James Usherwood, a locomotor biomechanist at the Royal Veterinary College at the University of London in Hatfield, where the research took place. Notice that everything that's kind of in that sentence is useless. Like, I don't care who this guy is or where he's from. That's not going to help me answer the question. But the stuff before is introducing the quote that they're asking about. So that is going to reinforce the same idea. That's how good writers write. They repeat themselves to make a point. So now let's look at our choices. They're using this quotation to explain that the current created by a bird differs from that of an airplane. Well, okay, they're talking about birds. They're talking about airplanes. And they're talking about birds a lot, airplanes a lot, birds, wings. So that might work, right? Explain that the bird differs from an airplane. They're saying that the airplane is stable, whereas the bird, maybe oscillating eddies is a tough phrase, but is unpredictable. That's much more understandable, right? So this seems okay. Let's look at the other choices, because there are some traps here that we need to make sure we don't fall for. Stress the amount of control exerted by birds flying in a V formation. Well, no, it's saying the opposite. It's saying the birds do not have control, that the birds are unpredictable, right? That the flapping wing is unpredictable. So this is the wrong connotation entirely of what they're saying. So it's not that there's control, it's that it's unpredictable. C, indicate that wind movement is continuously changing. Well, that seems to fit with what we're talking about, right? We're talking about the air kind of changing, but we're not talking about wind. We're talking about the wind that comes off of a bird, off of a flapping wing. So it's not just wind in general. And here's a problem that we need to make sure we notice. For me, someone who's experienced with the SAT, that word continuously sticks out like a sore thumb. I can't miss it. It's like screaming at me. Pay attention. That word is a strong word. It means something very specific. It means that at every single moment in time, the wind is changing. Now, that's a very strong claim. I would need evidence of that piece of information, and that's not what they're saying here. They're saying that it's unpredictable. They're saying that the wind oscillates, but that it's continuously changing in every second. That's much, much further than what they're saying. So the problems with this choice are kind of obvious to me, but I really want to stress that even, if you didn't pick this, you still need to be aware of how bad this is. This is something that the SAT does a lot. We need to be careful of those strong words, and we need to really notice them so that we can get rid of these trap choices. If you didn't notice that and you just kind of felt that it was off, that's not great. You want to really be able to point to words and say, yeah, this is a big problem. That's what I can do. And D, emphasize that the flapping of a bird's wings is powerful. Well, again, we have a strong word, powerful. It's saying it's unpredictable. It's saying that the wind or the air is kind of all over the place. But powerful, I mean, they're talking about airplanes, and those are powerful too. So I don't know what this contrast is supposed to be. It's not about the power. It's about what happens to the air. And so strong words get us in trouble in all those other choices, but notice the weak words that we use in choice A. One of my favorite things what the SAT does is they go to lines where the author is making some sort of point, some very clear point, saying, in this case, the air behind a wing is more unpredictable than the air behind an airplane. And then the choice that kind of summarizes that backs it up and says even less than the author does, right? Here they're not saying how the bird and the airplane are different. The lines are saying that. They absolutely are saying that. But the choice just says that they're different. It doesn't say how they're different. It just says that they're different. Classic SAT move. And it's really important to kind of contrast choice A, which is right, with choice C, which is wrong, because they're both kind of going in different directions. They're taking what's written, and choice A is backing it up and saying a little bit less than what the lines say. Whereas choice C is doing the opposite. It's kind of strengthening the lines. It's moving beyond what the lines say. It's saying too much. And so that's really what a lot of SAT questions come down to, and why I say we want weaker choices as opposed to stronger choices. We want a choice that does not go beyond the lines, and usually that means that a choice that doesn't even get to where the lines are, that backs it up from what the author is saying. And that is a classic case of what the SAT does throughout the section right here in this really great question. This is a good question to kind of highlight that point.